and call the roll.
Now 11:03 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, May 13th Board of Control meeting. We have Nan Baker.
Here.
Dale Miller.
Here.
Trevor Macular serving as an alternate for Dan Brady.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Mike Dever. Matt Carroll serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
Lenora Lockett. Here. Angie Rich serving as an alternate for Dennis Kennedy. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Andrea. We'll take a look at the minutes from last meeting of our May 6th. Any questions or corrections from May 6th? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Any public comment this morning, Andrea?
No public comment at this time.
Okay. Let's move on to our contracts and awards. Any tabled items?
No tabled items.
And new items.
First new item is item number BC 2019-352, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 44228 and enter into a contract with Stone Core Group, Inc., doing business as Stonehard, in the amount not to exceed $241,500 for installation of epoxy flooring and vertical glazing for the Jail 1 kitchen, located in the Justice Center complex. And it's for the period May 13th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Good morning, Matt Reimer representing the Department of Public Works. This contract is a supporting procurement to our project to renovate the former Jail 1 kitchen into 2 dormitories for inmate housing units. This particular contract will provide the wall finishes throughout both dormitories as well as the flooring finishes throughout both dormitories. This was a formal RFB. We had 4 bids received. 3 were evaluated as compliant on the bid tab. This is the lowest and best of the 3 compliant bids. We hope to begin the performance of this in the coming weeks, and this is on our critical path for that project. Happy to answer any questions. I did have an advanced question about the completion date of the renovation. We are anticipating that the end of June 2019 will be our completion of the renovation. We have also coordinated with ODRC, and we anticipate them being up here to do the occupancy evaluation in early July of 2019.
Any questions? Yeah, Trevor.
Matt, can you just talk about the number, or do we have the final number of beds that it will increase the capacity by?
We do. So each dormitory is a separate number approved by ODRC, 60 inmates in, I can't remember which unit is which, but 60 and 58, so 118 is the total count approved by ODRC.
And is that inspection, is that a one-day thing? I mean, does it happen pretty quickly, or could it require a significant length of time before they approve that area?
My opinion, it may take a little bit of time because they're evaluating more than just construction. Our construction site visit will typically be one day. If there's any questions from that, there may be a back and forth. But in addition to our construction, they'll also be evaluating staffing at that time to make sure that they can remove the conditional approval of the effort, which is contingent on staffing levels, to make sure that they have the confidence that it can be staffed to the level that they have mandated in the approval.
Matt, and I don't know if you know this, but is that just typically CO staffing, or is it other different types of staffing?
That particular is CO staffing levels to make sure that we have the right amount to cover the mandated number of COs that need to be in that area in addition to the rest of the jail. So that particular item, but they also look at key control and some other aspects related to operations as well. But I think we're on a solid footing with ODRC on those aspects.
Thanks, Matt.
Any other questions? Yeah, Councilman.
Given the completion dates you gave us, why is the contract extended through 12/31?
Good question, Councilman. I just think we just have an ample amount of time to make sure we can get through the administrative process of making all final payments. We are expecting a 4-week performance period of this, but we typically give a pretty decent amount of time to make sure we can get through the administrative closeout of any contracts.
Other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Next item, BC 2019-353, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 45027 and enter into a contract with Gradeway Construction Co., Inc., and it's doing business as Surface Engineering in the amount not to exceed $24,500 for paving of 3 parking lots located at the Juvenile Justice Center, and it's for the period May 13th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Good morning, Matt Reimer from the Department of Public Works again. This item is a capital project to crack seal, pavement seal, and then restripe the 3 lots at the Juvenile Justice Center. This went out in formal bid twice in this year. We also went out earlier in the fall. We had a problem with our bid spec, and we received the same result, just one vendor. This particular vendor is the one that responded to all 3 efforts. The ask amount is for not to exceed of $24,500. I will note that the actual bid of the contractor is $16,800, but we wanted to build in some flexibility on a not to exceed to make sure we handle any remobilization due to weather impacts or any other delays that occur out of our control when we're scheduling the work.
Questions?
Yes.
Councilman?
What was the engineer's estimate on the cost of this?
It was our appropriated amount of about $94,000, which included about $10,000 of work already performed by our laborers. So doing that math, about $85,000. So this is a substantial savings to what we had estimated going into the project.
I'm familiar with those parking lots, and given the size of the parking lots, I think you got a very favorable bid.
Indeed. And it's needed at those lots.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Next item, item BC 2019-354, Department of Development, recommending an economic development loan in the amount of $210,000 to Cleveland Rocks Holding, LLC, to assist with the renovation of the vacant Ohio City Masonic Temple located at 2831 Franklin Boulevard in Cleveland.
Good morning, Anthony Stella with Department of Development. I have the developer here, Kevin Voiton, as well. So as was just stated, we are looking to get approval for a loan in the amount of $210,000 for a $2.7 million project at the Ohio City Masonic Temple. The facility is being renovated into an indoor climbing gym, which will also include a yoga studio, and there will be a maker space / technology incubator where they will be teaching tech skills to the community. And this is being done through, that part is being done through a nonprofit. It's a donation-based class, so it's a very great service to the community. These types of coding skills, generally there's coding camps that charge anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 usually for these. So this will be a great way to get these skills to people, help them be able to get into the tech space and create, businesses. The development overall will create 8 full-time equivalent jobs to the county. The loan will carry a 10-year term, fully amortizing, generating 3.25% interest. And again, this was just a small gap in the overall $2.7 million project. The City of Cleveland is participating with a combination of loan and grant. Chemical Bank, they're contributing a little over $1.8 million in total through SBA funding, and the developer is injecting equity into the deal through they acquired the building and some additional equity to get the building going. This building's been vacant for quite a few years and had back taxes on it. Current owner has brought that up to date, and will turn this building into a revenue generator for the county rather than an eyesore for the community.
Great. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Trevor.
Just two quick questions. The CCCIC approved this loan, right?
Yes, they did. This had been reviewed and approved by CCCIC.
And then what position is the county in on the loan?
We are behind the bank, and we're sharing our position with City of Cleveland.
And is it a personal guarantee? Is it
Yes,
the
there's-
property or what?
We have security on the building. We're going to have subordinate security on all the business assets, and a personal guarantee by Kevin, who is here.
Thank you.
Other questions? Councilman?
My question was the same. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
All right.
Well, it sounds like a great project. Thank you. Thank you very much for your investment in the community. I would like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do some climbing.
The next item, item BC 2019-355, is being held at the request of the department. Next item, item BC 2019-356, Department of Information Technology. On behalf of the Sheriff's Department, it's a two-part item. A, submitting an RFP exemption on RQ 45379, which will result in an award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems, Inc. in the amount of $84,552.10 for a state contract purchase and installation of the following numbers are going to change at the request of the department. Instead of 20 security cameras, there will be 14 security cameras, and instead of 6 intercoms, there will be 14 intercoms, video storage and related equipment in connection with 2 new dormitories being built in Jail 1 located at the Justice Center complex, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Matt Reimer. I did not change departments. This procurement is supporting our Jail 1 kitchen conversion to 2 dormitories. This is a supporting procurement. As Andrea stated, the numbers do not represent a change in scope. That was a miscommunication on my part during agenda preparation, so I apologize, but it is for 14 security cameras and 14 intercom systems. These will provide camera monitoring of both the doorway vestibules into and out of the 2 inmate housing dormitories. It will also provide required voice communications through the security vestibules and communication back to master control. Happy to answer any questions you may have on this.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Matt.
And we're approving that as amended. Next item, item number BC 2019-357, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, on behalf of the Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau for mentoring services for youth in permanent custody of DCFS, and is for the period July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $247,255.
Good morning, Bob Math from the Department of Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. This is a second amendment to our contract with Belfair to provide a traditional one-on-one mentoring program. This was initially competitively procured 2 years ago. We've amended it once. This is our second, probably final amendment under this RFP. It is a traditional mentoring program that provides, mentoring services to youth in the custody of DCFS. They're responsible for, Belfair's responsible for recruitment of mentors, screening, training of the mentors, doing the matching, providing mentoring activities, and then monitor and support the activities of the mentors. There are a number of outcomes that we've identified in the contract to ensure that the program is operating well. Some of the indicators are satisfaction. Some of the mentees achieving, staying in school, finishing school, becoming employed, and there's 6 or 7 performance indicators that we manage, that we monitor. And currently there's about 35 matches that are underway. And this, again, will be the second and final amendment to this RFP.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Next item, BC 2019-358, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 44799 and enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga Community College Corporate College Conference Center in the amount not to exceed $20,912.40 for room rental, catering, and audiovisual services in connection with the annual Supervisor Training Conference, and it's for the period June 26, 2019 through June 27th, 2019.
Good morning, Bob Math again on behalf of Division of Children and Family Services. This is the annual conference that we host at our training center at West Shore. It's funded entirely by the North Central Ohio Regional Training Center. It is the annual Supervisors Conference. It's education and training for child welfare professionals, supervisors, community partners, and it's all about improving and strengthening their skills as it relates to achieving the best outcomes for children that are involved in the child welfare system. And I think there was a question that hopefully your response about, who else responded and the lowest, and how we made the decision to award to recommend community college. And I think on that sheet, we spell out all the respondents and what their bids were, and then who was, and how we made that decision, that recommendation.
Any questions? Councilwoman.
Just to clarify location, this is at the Corporate College on Center Ridge Road
That's
in
correct.
Westlake,
That's
not in
correct.
their West Shore
Oh, I'm sorry,
campus.
that's correct, yes. This one's
Thank
in
you.
there, I apologize.
Any other questions? Councilman?
Just a comment, thanks for the responses on this and the next couple of items. It gave me comfort that there was a good procurement process and you looked at alternatives and made a reasonable selection. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-359, again, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, on behalf of the Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 44795 and to enter into a contract with Ramsera LLC, doing business as Crown Plaza Independence South, in the amount not to exceed $19,710.90. And it's for catering services for the annual Substitute Caregiver Training Conference for the period May 30th, 2019 through June 1st, 2019.
Bob Math again for the Division of Children and Family Services. This is the annual conference that DCFS offers for our caregivers. It offers foster parents, other child care workers, child care professionals, the opportunity to share best practices, enhance learning opportunities to improve and strengthen parenting skills in caring for our foster children. And again, we did an informal bid, and you saw the response, why Crown Plaza is being recommended. They could meet our dates, and they were the lowest bid in that respect. And this is funded through levy dollars and state dollars as well.
Questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Next item, BC 2019-360, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 45211 and enter into a contract with Hotel 1100 Carnegie OpCo LP, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, Cleveland Downtown, in the amount not to exceed $11,592.19 for room rental, catering, and audiovisual services in connection with the annual Fatherhood Conference to be held on June 14th, 2019.
Hi, good afternoon. Al Grimes, Department of Health and Human Services. This contract is with the Hilton Garden Inn for our 15th annual Fatherhood Conference, created to promote healthy father-child relationships, address social problems that result of father absence, and to strategize is what we can do to ensure that every child has a dad in his or her life. The conference will consist of a resource fair, town hall meeting, an awards luncheon, and educational workshops. This contract came about as a result of an informal bid, and the Hilton Garden Inn was the lowest and best provider. I think there was a question as to the three bids, and we supplied that in advance of the meeting.
Yes, thank you very much for the
Welcome.
response.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Al.
Al, the backup response to the questions, it said that all three were selected, but I think only Hilton Garden Inn was
Yes,
selected.
those
The
were,
other two
yeah,
should be
those were
noted,
the
right?
three that submitted bids, and the Hilton Garden Inn was one selected
one.
of the
Okay,
three.
I just want to make sure that was.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Next item, BC 2019-361, Office of the Medical Examiner, submitting an agreement with the City of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $349,941.73 for Automated Fingerprint Identification System, AFIS, services. And it's for the period January 1st, 2017 through July 31st, 2019.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. This is a somewhat retroactive contract, as you can tell by the dates. There were some issues. Cleveland had been a partner in the original AFIS purchase and had an agreement with the Sheriff's Office in order to split the maintenance costs. When that shifted to the responsibility of AFIS shifted to the Medical Examiner's Office, the payments were stopped. When we followed up, they said that they now required a new contract because the Sheriff's contract was no longer valid, even though all the MOUs still had everybody's names on them. So this now encompasses 2 years of back payments for maintenance, which we have already paid for out of our budget. So these funds will help reimburse those costs and be used to build the new bridge system that we're planning on for this summer.
Any questions?
Yes.
Councilman.
You said about building a new bridge system. What do you mean by that?
So the next generation systems of AFIS incorporate a lot of other technology, facial recognition, DNA, things like that. That will take years to plan. They're about $3 to $4 million, which we don't have those resources identified yet. So a bridge upgrade will refresh the hardware and software that we currently have and allow us to continue to maintain the system for the next 5 years or so until we can identify funding, do the extensive planning, put out an RFP, things like that to allow us to move to a next generation system.
Okay.
Unless you have $4 or $5 million, we'll take it. But
I didn't hear an answer to that, Hugh, so maybe
okay,
it's,
we'll go with this.
any other questions? Yes, Char.
Hugh, do you just deposit this in the medical examiner's fund, then will it be, I mean, it's not going to be deposited back into the general fund or anything, right? This will be set aside in your
I
fund?
believe it's set aside to go back to the Crime Lab fund where the payments for maintenance were originating, and then allow us to use that fund to pay for the bridge system.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-362, Office of the Medical Examiner, submitting an agreement with the Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney, Northern District of Ohio, in the amount not to exceed $90,000 for forensic testing services as needed. And it's for the period November 28th, 2018 through November 27th, 2019.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. So this we have been working on with the U.S. Attorney's Office and Justin Herdman. to allow the Department of Justice, the local federal agencies under the Department of Justice, mainly ATF, DEA, FBI, to pay us for forensic testing that we have to do for them in some cases. It turned out that at the height of the opioid crisis, whereas we would take testing from federal agencies in a pinch because they would have to wait months to get results back from Quantico or any of their regional federal labs, it started mounting the number of tests that were being required or requested. And so this allows us then to charge the federal government for testing that we do on behalf of justice agencies. There will be a similar contract, I believe, shortly from the Department of Homeland Security as well.
Any questions? Yes, Trevor.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if it's really a question or not, but I know items 362 and 363 are still being reviewed by the law department for certain contract language. And I don't know if it's possible if we could hold these items for another week, and hopefully the law department can finish that review for both items.
What's your feeling about that, Hugh?
Well, the one with the Justice Department probably doesn't make all that much of a difference. The one with the State Highway Patrol, which is the next item, it'll expire at the end of the state's fiscal year, which is June 30th. We actually have to have them invoiced and tested, I believe, 10 days prior to the end. We were hoping that this review would have been done so that we could take possession of the testing, testing samples as soon as possible, so that our folks can get them done. If it gets delayed, they have to delay their delivery, and it could jeopardize any of the funding. We have another part of this contract with the state will add more money in the new fiscal year, which is July 1st, and we'll get a new batch of tests, or samples to test for them. I'm just a little concerned at this point that we're pushing our staff to try to rush through their testing to try to get it done.
Are there substantive concerns about the details of the?
It was just part of an answer that we received from the advanced questions that the law department was still reviewing. I think some concerns over the indemnification clauses, from my understanding.
Right.
I don't know if it would be possible to maybe hold 362 and then approve 363 contingent upon
Appreciate
the law department signing off on it.
I mean, I assume that's generally how, when we give authority here, it assumes the law department. Trevor, is that, normally.
Yeah, I think for the most part, though, the items that we typically see have already gone through legal review. And this just hasn't hit that process yet. So usually it's already, from my understanding, it's completed before it gets to the board.
So this just to clarify, so we were in the process of trying to get our legal folks and their legal folks together, because it's really bad form for me to try to explain the legal problems that we're having with their contract. But they also sent us another contract. Apparently they had a typo on it, and we had to replace the contract, and then it didn't get uploaded for, I don't know if there was a virus on it or something. So they've been struggling just to upload the new contract, and so hopefully that's all been taken care of, and I've got all the contacts, and then they'll be able to straighten it out this week.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do the contingent arrangement for both. There's a distinction, you think, between.
Mainly just because Hugh said we could wait for the one, but we can do both. I just want to make sure it's contingent upon law department.
If that's okay, I'm okay with that. So we would hold 362 for a week, right? And then we would, we'll get to 363 in a second. But so that's, Andrea got that. So we'll be back with the next one. Okay.
Yes. Moving on to the next item, item BC 2019-363, Office of the Medical Examiner, submitting an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Public Safety, Ohio State Highway Patrol Crime Lab, in the amount not to exceed $49,000 to perform drug identification and analysis on backlogged one-item cases as needed for the period May 13th, 2019 through June 30th, 2020.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. So again, there's a backlog in the Highway Patrol's laboratory. We did this a couple of years ago for BCI when they had had some issues with their turnaround times in drug cases. And as I explained, we have a tight window on this part of the contract because of the state's fiscal year and their reporting needed to be done. We needed to have them tested and invoiced by June 20th. There will be an additional addendum coming when the new fiscal year hits July 1st for another $49,000.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Councilman.
I'll just move for approval contingent on completion of the law department review.
You do that amendment without
Yes.
a separate vote? Okay. All right, so there's been a motion to approve 363, but with the additional contingency that the law department approves the contract. There is a motion. I will second it. If there's no further discussion, motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item amended that way, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda items numbers BC 2019-364 through 368. And I would like to make a correction at the request of the department on page 6 for requisition number CT 19-45461, and that's for generator testing at the jail 1 and jail 2. The amount should reflect $12,960 instead of $6,480.
Okay. All right. Any questions about the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Is there a second?
Second.
And second, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda items, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. So I believe we have, let's see, we have a couple of additional items. Other business?
Yes, we have mission critical items, have a total of 4. The first
Wow.
The first mission critical item is from the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 45546 in the amount not to exceed $3,400 to Trombold Equipment Company. And the funding source is the Internal Service Fund / General Fund, and it's for fire pump valve and casting repair at the Justice Center.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. We issued a mission critical. We're seeking approval of that. The dollar amount is $3,400. This is with the Trombold Equipment Company. So earlier this year, we had all of our buildings have fire systems. This vendor, we had the area where the shaft penetrates the outer casting of the fire pump. A lot of times that sealant breaks. There's some wear and tear. So the vendor had to come out and redo that casting and repack it. We didn't have any issues with it, but this was being done in advance because we noticed there was an issue with that area. Because it's life safety, we had to get it done.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include this item. Is there a second? There's motion second. All those in favor of amending the agenda to include this item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, any questions about the item? Yes, Councilwoman.
So did I hear you say that it is operational?
Yes.
You just find weaknesses?
That's correct. That's correct. It's part of standard maintenance.
Okay, if there are no further questions, I'd like to move to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, recommending an award on requisition 45807 in the amount not to exceed $24,863.68 to Great Lakes Petroleum Funding source is Sewer Fund 83%, Airport Operational Fund 17%, and this is for supplemental distillates for various locations.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, again, Public Works. This is with the Great Lakes Petroleum. Again, $24,863.68. This was for supplemental distillates for 2 locations, our sanitary division out in Valley View and our airport. Ahead of the new contract being approved, we had to issue a mission critical to make sure some of our fuel tanks did not run out of fuel. And this is, we had to issue a mission critical to ensure that that didn't happen.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to consider this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of amending the agenda to include this item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda has been amended. Any questions about the item? Yes, sir, Councilman.
Is whether we got the same price on the emergency contract as
We did.
as we generally
We did. We've been following the state of Ohio contract pricing for many years. The county doesn't purchase as much fuel as it used to. So, whenever we, go out to bid, we kind of have an idea where we're going to be at the state contract because we're able to buy, get a better bulk price. That's how we get the best price. And they did give us that price through this.
Yeah, sure.
Can I just ask about the nature of the purchase? Like, why does it fall under mission critical emergency versus we know when the new contract starts, just how come it didn't hit the agenda like through the normal process?
Chambers here. We knew the contract was coming. We had an employee issue where it fell behind and we were kind of misled, so we didn't get the contract approved in a timely manner. So in the interim, we had to issue this to make sure we didn't run out of fuel.
Does this take us through?
Yeah.
The start?
Yeah.
The current contract goes until the end of this year. So, we factored that into the move and everything, but that's why we only went for a multiple month contract to the end of this year. So,
Tom, can you speak generally to our total fuel spend of this kind of fuel? Kind of ballpark?
I used to know it. I don't know offhand.
I don't know off the top of my hand. I mean, typically a multi-year contract would be in the 700,000 range. Previously, I think years ago when we actually had the township, it was, I think, over $1 million contract.
For multi-year?
Yes, for multi-year.
Okay.
So when we did this contract, I believe it was for 9 months. It was for $450,000. So we talked with our business service managers, with all of our business units, with sanitary, road and bridge, and the airport, and we assumed that the $450 would take us through this year. So.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah. Yes.
Lenore Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. Are you stating you have a current contract, or has the contract expired, or the current contract we don't have any funding left?
No, we do have a current contract. So as we're purchasing today, it's under the current contract that started a few months ago. We issued this prior to the new contract being approved by the board.
Okay, so this is, you're just now presenting it, but
Yes,
this is authorized
that's correct.
several
Yes,
months ago.
yes. Yeah, the current contract goes until the end of the year. So as we purchase fuel today or tomorrow, it goes on the new contract.
Any other questions? Hearing none, like to move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right. Next, mission critical.
Next item is requisition number 45143, recommending an award in the amount not to exceed $3,350 to Precision Pump, Inc. Funding source is Road and Bridge Fund, and it is an underground tank defective gasoline fill point spill bucket over at York Road.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again. Department of Public Works. This last mission critical for today is the vendor's Precision Pump. It's $3,350. During inspection, we were made aware that there was the unleaded fuel tank, the overfill system had a crack in it, so we had to get that repaired within 7 days. We issued the mission critical. They came out and redid the casting, had to remove the concrete, and get us back up to code.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include this item. Is there a second? We have a motion and second. All those in favor of amending the agenda to add this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Any questions about the item? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I think we have one more.
the Medical Examiner's Office, and it's a mission-critical item on requisition 45443 in the amount not to exceed $1,679.20, and the vendor is Inventage, and it's for repair of the Agilent gas chromatographic mass spectrometer repair.
Nice, Andrea. Well done. Anyway,
Not bad.
go ahead.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. One of the GCMSs in the drug chemistry lab had failed and needed repairs last month.
All right, like to move to amend the agenda to add this item. Is there a second? Motion and second to amend the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, any questions about the item? Yes, Trevor.
Mr. Chair, not specifically about this item, but I guess the three items that are below 5,000 were all three done before the increase in the new procurement thresholds. Is that why they're having to be walked on as mission critical?
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. Time-sensitive mission and criticals are purchases authorized by the departments that do not have OPD involvement. They bring them to the board to detail why the department felt that it was an urgent and time-sensitive mission critical need. Purchases that go through the general process, even if they're under 5,000, but they're over the current 1,000, they still need OPD approval prior to the purchase.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about this item? All right, hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Thanks, you. Andrea, we have a couple of items of note, not for voting.
Correct.
Okay. Page 8, right?
Right. And we don't have to review
Have to
them.
read through, but they're just for everybody's reference.
Yes.
And then, is there any other business?
No other business at this time,
Okay. And any public comment at the
and
end?
no public comment.
All right, very good. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. None opposed. Thank you.